Greetings everybody. This is the first of hopefully many videos. I wouldn't call these tutorials as such. I'm not a qualified artist. In fact, I've only been doing art seriously for the last 2 years or so. But the idea is that if you see something in this video that you think you can use, whether it be a technique or an approach, then I will consider my job done, and hopefully you'll get something out of this. The purpose of the channel overall is really just to connect with people. I'm not here to make money, anything like that. I just want to share ideas and techniques, and if you like, make the world a better place through art. So this first video is about creating an intuitive piece in a short amount of time and letting the paint and the materials sit in the driving seat. It's also about getting used to a whole host of things, including Filmora, which I've sort of put together and edited the video in, making use of the new phone holder, the Paparazzo Olivia, which I just took delivery of this morning. So if you use that, then I'm quite happy to share what I've found out about it, and maybe you've got some tips as well. I'll no doubt make a lot of mistakes in this, but you've got to start somewhere, eh? Okay, so here's the setup. I've got an A3 piece of multimedia paper, and I've gessoed it and taped it around the edges. A quick tip for taping around that I've found is that if you put it sticky side against a woolen jumper or something like that, then when you peel it off, it's less likely to remove the paper underneath. If you're interested in the type of paper I've used, I'm using this at the moment, which I obtained from Hobbycraft. It's a mixed media pad, A3 size. It doesn't actually tell you what the weight of it is, but I think it's something like 230 GSM, might be as high as 280. But anyway, it serves my purposes. The exercise I'm going to do is actually based on one of Chris Loud's prompts, and I'll put a link in the description to his channel. It's a brilliant channel, very inspirational, very motivational, loads of great tips, tricks and ideas. What I particularly like about his approach, certainly in his videos, is that it very much emphasizes working quickly, producing preparatory works, things that might become works of art later on or inspire other things, but it gets you over that sort of blockage you can sometimes have with a blank canvas. So the exercise is this. It's to do with having a contrast between some neutral colours and more vibrant colours, hopefully to make the more vibrant colours stand out more. What I've got on the palette here, as suggested by Chris, is some Vermillion, some Cadmium yellow, titanium white, and I've chosen to use Phthalo blue here, and those are the only colours. What I'm going to do is mix a bit of the Vermillion with some of the Cadmium yellow to produce an orange colour. So this takes a little bit of time to mix it up. I do like Cadmium yellow as one of the go-to yellows. The other one I like is yellow ochre, but I won't be using that in this exercise. So I've got a bit of orange created there. I'm going to make a bit more. This is the way I'm doing it. You might have some tips for me about how to do this a bit better, but it seems to be producing the colour that I want. Okay, and then on top of that, I'm going to mix in a bit of blue to get a more neutral colour. So I'm going to just scrape some of that off there and add a bit of blue from here, which should, in theory, produce a much more neutral background colour, which is a sort of browny green colour as far as I can tell on this. Just a word, I am actually red-green colourblind. Not terribly, but slightly. So I do find particularly greens and reds, different shades of them, a bit difficult to distinguish. So that's produced that colour. I'm going to add a bit of titanium white as well, just to lighten that up a little bit. There we go, that's producing more of the colour that I want. And I'm just about ready to go now. What I've done is put the various tools that I want to use, the brushes, to hand. And the thing about this exercise is we're going to make it very strict and regimented. I'm going to give myself a maximum of 20 minutes to produce this thing, and then I'm going to stop. So let's see what I produce. Right, so I'm on the clock and just going to dive in. Going to use quite a wide brush here and just start smearing a few things on. Just lay down that colour. Maybe just add a bit of white there on the edges. Created a bit of a difference. A little bit more there. Realising that I haven't perhaps mixed up quite enough colour for this. Never mind. Just go for it. Smearing it on, dabbing it over. A bit darker colour, a bit of a red has sneaked in there as well, but that's okay. Can live with that. And it really is just random stuff at the moment. Getting that put into place. Seems to be taking to the paper nicely. There can be a bit of a debate about whether you need to gesso beforehand. Being this as my first video, I'm doing a belts and braces approach, so I didn't leave that sort of thing to chance. I'm not sure if this paper is pre-prepared anyway. Maybe I'm wasting gesso. A bit of no red has sneaked in there, so I'm just going to actually use a bit of spray of water at this point, just to allow that to mix in a bit better. A bit too viscous, I think, at those early stages. Put a bit more at the edges here, just to get the paint covering there. I don't mind that there's a bit of white sneaking through there. That's not a problem. Okay, let's start adding now a bit of the orangey colour. It's mixed with the brown, so we're getting a bit of a sort of ochre colour there. I quite like that streak that's just appeared. And I'm going to put the vibrant colours more on the left. I will change that though. Use a slightly smaller brush. Let's put a bit of yellow and red on the same brush without actually mixing on the palette. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, I like that. A bit more yellow. And I'm just using circular motions at the moment. Sometimes I go for more linear effects with a brush, but I'm feeling in a more circular mood today. I want to add a bit of white and a bit of the vermilion at the edge there as well. If you watch Chris Loud's video on this, he goes into a little bit of the theory about complementary colours, so I'll let you check that out yourself. Let's just spread that a little bit onto this side. Add a bit of water again. See what that does. Just makes it a little bit more fluid. And I am going to put that down there. At this point, I'm going to dry it off a little bit with the hairdryer. So I'll just stop the video for a second. There we are. Didn't think you'd really want to just watch me hair drying over a piece. So that bit's done. It's a little bit drier. And I'm thinking that I need to lighten up this other side a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the sort of beigeish colour that's on there and try and produce quite a light colour on this point. And I could stick with the brush, but I'm going to just take this straight from the palette knife. Put a few different sorts of shape on there. Just using the palette knife as a mark maker really. Trying to stick with keeping it circular motion. And something I quite like doing at this stage is, if I can find it, I could use the palette knife, but I find this thing useful for putting a few scribbles in where I've applied paint to expose what's underneath. Keep on going. Add a bit more titanium white to that, make it even lighter. There's a bit of red creeping at the corner, but that's okay, I can live with that. Just maybe outlining down the side here a little bit more. Dispense with the palette knife. I quite like using these colour shapers. They can produce a different effect. Again, use the old mark maker, scribble a bit in there, just randomly. It may get covered up eventually, at least in part. And apply a bit of white on top. Take it down the side, mixing in with those lower colours. And just get a bit of coverage down here as well. Yeah, quite pleased with that. So I'm going to leave that alone and go back to the other side, get a few more of the intense colours going. And I'm thinking that I'll go back to the broad brush, get a bit more yellow on here, a bit more of the vermilion, get more of that orange colour. Quite like that, that's nice. A bit more on the bottom here. Maybe use the edge of the brush, get a few different sort of shapes going. Thinking about trying to get a margin going at this point. Separating off the more neutral colours with this. Bit of white. Yeah, it's kind of chaotic, which I like. What's going to happen if I go over that little bit of white a bit? Just like that. And at the edges here, I've got a dry brush. I've maybe left it a little bit late for this. The idea is that it blends it in a bit. Right, time to switch gears a little bit. Lost my other brush, don't know what I did with that. Never mind, we'll use this one. Let's just get a bit of the blue in there. I'm going to be quite sparing with this. Just get a bit of contrast. Quite nice that it's picked up some of that white on the edges. Because as soon as you get it mixing with the yellow, you get a bit of green on there. That's what happens. I have learned. Colourblindness or not. And at this point I'm starting to overthink it a bit. I'm starting to plan it and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to add a few more little bits. Maybe just a bit darker blue if it'll work. I think that's enough of that. Right, I did a bit of hair drying there. I spared you the pain of that. At this point I'm just going to put this mount board over it just to have a look at how different sections appear to be coming along. So, you know, that could be a sort of start of something on its own, but when you mix it with the other side, and perhaps if I use this larger piece of mount board, you'll see what I mean there. You can start to see the contrast there. Okay. So I'm coming up to the 10-minute mark now, and what I want to do is get a little bit more going on this left-hand side. So I'm going to mix just a bit of neutral grey with the white. Again, just make it a bit lighter. And I'm going to spray over this with a bit of water again, because I want this to be a bit more sort of blended and knocked back. So you can see a fair bit of this underneath stuff is starting to disappear. A tan, browny kind of colour. And I'm just going to go over that a little bit. This is just a damp cloth. Make it a little bit more see-through, knocking things back a bit. Do this a little bit more. Make this a bit more defined at the edges. Almost create a hard edge there at this point, which is fine. Because even if the underlying colours were completely covered up, you'd still get them affecting the colours above, because that's the way light works. So the physicists tell me a little bit more, no, not a bit more water. I'm going to blend this a little bit more if I can find my larger brush, that is. Here it is. So dry brush, leaving a little eye hole there, showing the tan underneath. Quite like that. A little bit of brown coming in there. And coming up to about the 11-minute mark now. So at this point, I think I'm going to start to use some charcoal. I only got into using this a while ago. It can be quite messy stuff. What it is this Winsor & Newton willow charcoal. And I'm not going to be doing any more painting at this point, because if I do that and it goes over it, then you do get a lot of smudging. And sometimes, if it's intentional, that's a good thing. But if it's not intentional, it can be very frustrating. So, again, trying not to plan too much. Just adding a few. You can see there where I should have dried that off. So I'm going to stick to the right-hand side with this bit. I'm going to try and just follow a continuous line for a while. Going around some of the paint strokes, but not all of them. Sectioning off the odd parts just here. Quite like doing a bit of deliberate smudging here and there, a bit of blending. I definitely should have dried that off a little bit with a hairdryer, and my fingers tending to dry that out, so that's okay. And here we go. Okay, and a little bit more. Had a bit of a pause there. Might have given time for the paint to dry from that last bit. A bit more smudging. Let some of that come over into the neutral side as well. Being very random here. For some reason I always smudge in a south-west direction. Don't know why that is. Let's mix that up a bit. Let's just smudge all over. After this, I'll be fixing this with fixing fluid, and there is going to be a part 2 to this video where I take this after having left it for a few days, try and develop it into something new. And I said I wasn't going to do any more painting, but I feel like just adding a little bit more yellow in these parts. Maybe just a bit along the bottom here. neutral colour just extending along the bottom there, producing a little bit of a greenish hue, if I'm not mistaken. And then again, I am colourblind. What would I know? But at the top here as well. And yeah, I'm coming up to the 15-minute mark. I could have left this till 20, but I think I'm going to just leave that there. There's more I could do. I could do some mark making, but I'm going to leave that to another day. Just blow the charcoal away, and let's just see what we've got. See if we cut off some of that neutral there and just have a little bit of it on the left there. It produces a different sort of perspective. Move that across. Different yet again. But a bit portrait. We've just got the vibrant colours. There's a sort of half and half picture. And if I then take the larger one, that's kind of what it looks like overall. Okay, so quite pleased with that as a basis for just getting warmed up or producing something else. I am going to work on it more because I'm interested to see what I can make out of this. If it wasn't so big, wasn't on a heavy board, I'd try rotating at different orientations, but I'm going to leave that till next time, I think. But already I'm seeing some interesting colours and shapes and contrasts here. So do give a like and a subscribe if you like what you see here. As I said in the intro, this is about sharing inspiration, techniques, ideas, perspectives. Let me know what you think about this. Is there a particular part of it that's a favourite, or does it just not work for you at all? Okay, we'll wind things up there. Bye everyone.